Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, 𝐶OAS, Field Marshal Asim Munir, arrived in Washington on Sunday for a 5-day official visit focused on reinforcing military and strategic cooperation between Pakistan and the United States. Although the visit coincides with the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary celebrations, officials emphasized that Field Marshal Munir's visit is strictly bilateral in nature. Sources suggest that the Army chief is expected to hold meetings with senior U.S. officials, including the Secretaries of State and Defense, as well as top military commanders. While unconfirmed reports placed him at the U.S. Central Command headquarters in Tampa, the Pakistani embassy in Washington declined to comment. During a Senate session, Deputy PM 𝐒𝐭𝐲𝐬𝐻 condemned the spread of misinformation, highlighting a fake video falsely claiming Pakistan would launch a nuclear strike on Israel if Iran were attacked. "This is irresponsible and false news," he said, noting the fabricated quote from an Iranian general had gone viral and was even picked up by the Daily Mail. Dar emphasized that Pakistan had issued no such statement and urged the public to verify information before sharing.
लेटेस्ट इंट्रीग हुई है इसी सोशल मीडिया के हवाले से कि जी उनके ईरान के एक जनरल्स को कोट करके कि जी पाकिस्तान ने ये कहा है कि अगर इसराइल ने हमारे ऊपर न्यूक अटैक किया तो पाकिस्तान इसराइल के ऊपर न्यूक्लियर हमला कर देगा। ये गैर ज़िम्मेदाराना और इतनी झूठी खबर है और वो सोशल मीडिया में चलती चलती अभी मुझे थोड़ी देर पहले पता चला कि डेली मेल ने पिक कर लिया इंग्लैंड में।
In another development, Pakistani security forces killed 5 militants linked to what they described as Indian proxies in separate operations in Peshawar and North Waziristan. The military's Inter-Services Public Relations (ISPR) emphasized ongoing efforts to eliminate Indian-sponsored terrorism. Adding a moment of national pride amid tension, Olympic gold medalist Arshad Nadeem was named to Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list for his historic javelin performance, highlighting Pakistan's global sporting recognition and offering a rare unifying achievement in a time of geopolitical and domestic challenges. The Gaza-Israel conflict escalated further on Monday as at least 40 Palestinians were killed, including 20 near a U.S.-backed aid site in Rafah, according to Gaza's health ministry. Over 200 were wounded in the same area, where civilians had gathered to receive food under Israel's new aid distribution system operated by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF. The United Nations has condemned the GHF's model, managed under Israeli military oversight, as dangerous, inadequate, and politicized. UNRWA head Philippe Lazzarini accused Israel of weaponizing hunger and blocking essential aid, while UN rights chief Volker Turk labeled the tactics horrifying and accused Israel of intentionally inflicting civilian suffering. Israel defends the new system as necessary to prevent aid diversion by Hamas, an allegation Hamas denies. Since the GHF began operations, over 300 people have reportedly died near its distribution points. Meanwhile, Iran's missile strikes on Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv and Haifa, killed at least 8 and sparked mixed reactions in Gaza. Finally, many Israelis felt what we have felt for 20 months: fear, loss, displacement, said Tahrir, a displaced mother in Gaza. Explosions were later reported in both eastern and western Tehran. Iranian media confirmed Israeli airstrikes, including hits on a military base and the offices of Iran's state broadcaster, IRIB. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, later confirmed on social media that the Israeli military had targeted and bombed the headquarters of Iran's state broadcasting authority in Tehran. Despite these rising tensions, Gulf stock markets rebounded Monday. Saudi Arabia's index rose 1.2%, while Qatar's jumped 1.7%. Analysts attribute the gains to investor resilience and a partial recovery after oil prices surged 7% last week. At the 51st G7 summit, U.S. President Donald Trump, speaking alongside Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, said Iran should pursue de-escalation talks with Israel immediately, warning that Tehran is not winning the conflict and should act before it's too late. The comment signaled a potential diplomatic opening amid spiraling violence.
I'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
And what would you say, in your opinion, what would it take for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict militarily?
I don't want to talk about that.
And you mentioned Putin.
We've always supported Israel. We have for a long period of time, strongly. and Israel's doing very well right now.
Russia claimed responsibility for a missile and drone strike on Ukraine's Kremenchuk oil refinery over the weekend, targeting what it says is a critical fuel supplier for Ukrainian forces in the eastern Donbass region. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack as a deliberate assault on civilian infrastructure, noting it came shortly after Washington had urged Kyiv not to strike Russian energy facilities. He called the strike a vile effort to undermine peace diplomacy. Russia's defense ministry said the refinery in Ukraine's central Poltava region was hit using missiles fired from both sea and air, along with unmanned aerial vehicles. The refinery has been a key asset supporting Ukraine's military logistics in the Donbass, where heavy fighting continues. Moscow also claimed its forces had captured the village of Malinivka in Donetsk and made gains in Ukraine's Sumy region, though Kyiv has disputed some of these claims. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials announced on Monday the completion of a major repatriation of war dead. Defense Minister Rustem Umerov confirmed that 1,245 additional bodies of Ukrainian soldiers had been returned, bringing the total to over 6,000 under agreements reached in Istanbul earlier this month. Russia said it had received the remains of only 78 of its soldiers, with over 2,000 more still pending transfer. Zelensky, currently on a diplomatic visit to Austria, will attend the G7 summit in Canada, where he plans to meet U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss potential new weapons purchases for Ukraine.